So, San Antonio sort of reeling from the news that very suddenly and unexpectedly over the weekend, a dear friend and a wonderful community member has passed away.
Jimmy Parks Jr. I've been in the media for about 15 years, and I've had the opportunity to meet some great men and women, and I've met no man greater than Jimmy Parks Jr. His heart, his caring, a brilliant man. I mean, his intellect was off the charts, but with that was just such a heart and a soul and a caring for people. And whenever there was somebody in need, whenever there was a cause, Jimmy was right there, not only to give monetarily, but Jimmy would roll up his sleeves. I went out once and Jimmy was a Santa for the Elf Louise Christmas project. Jimmy was in the Santa suit, I was one of the elves, and as soon as Jimmy would hear that somebody needed something, Jimmy would find a way to get it to them.
And you gotta know, winters can still be a steamy 75, 80 degree. You put that suit on, you know what you're getting yourself into. But it was that kind of selfless nature that he had.
That's who he was. A lot of people don't know, and Jimmy was not the kind of guy to toot the horn about what he was doing. There was a church on the south side in a low-income neighborhood that Jimmy supported financially, and he would go regularly on Sundays and teach Sunday school, teach Bible study. A lot of people don't know that about Jimmy. Jimmy would take underprivileged children, soccer players. He would take them on soccer excursions and fly them all to Southern California to play soccer, put them in the finest hotels. They'd go to Disneyland, they'd go to SeaWorld and play soccer. And Jimmy just did this kind of thing for people who needed a helping hand, and he was always there to help and inspire people.
How will you remember your dear friend?
Oh my gosh, that's the tough question. A friend, great man.
When we talk about what he means to this community, we've had the opportunity to, chat with judges who've had him in the courtroom, chat with, allies and friends who've, stood beside him and been on his team, prosecutors who've had to face him, everyone, regardless of how they seem to have known Jimmy, the role that he may have played in their life, whether it was personally or, in a courtroom or however it may have played out in the streets of San Antonio, everyone says such glowing things about him.
It's because he was real, he was authentic, and he was good. He was like John Wayne. I mean, imagine if you're a prosecutor and you're going against John Wayne. I mean, John Wayne's gonna beat you. John Wayne is a man. Jimmy used to be a boxer. And part of, hearing that Jimmy passed away on Sunday, he was in such great shape. I mean, he was 60, he was cut. One of my friends texted me yesterday and said, Jimmy could take us out with his hands tied behind his back and take us both out. But he never would. Jimmy, even though he was in amazing shape, a former boxer, willing to fight in the courtroom, willing to fight for what was right when somebody needed help, he was so gentle. And he was so soft-spoken. Gabe Quintanilla, who is a local attorney and longtime judge, posted on Facebook last night, Jimmy was so soft-spoken, you would have to sometimes kind of lean in to hear what he was saying, and some people would wonder, is that by design? And you think about a criminal defense attorney, most of them are loud, there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of bluster. There was none of that with Jimmy Parks Jr. There was amazing humility with this man.
San Antonians who maybe didn't have the pleasure and now won't have the opportunity to know Jimmy and to have that sort of light in their lives, how is it that you them to tonight, as they hear about his passing, honor your friend?
I would hope that they would live life as Jimmy did, and Jimmy's first question was, how can I help? Jimmy was brilliant. He was a spiritual man. He was a Christian. Jimmy was very, very blessed because of the way he lived his life, one of the greatest attorneys in Texas, if not America. But everything he acquired, he would give back. I would hope that people would live their life with the spirit of giving that Jimmy Parks was all about.
And Anything I didn't ask that you'd like to add?
Gosh, let me think. And when you asked me how I would remember him, that's when I got
I'm sorry, I know.
totally emotional, and I'm trying to hold it together. I would just pray for the family, and this is something that's huge, I think. Was his high school sweetheart. It was so amazing. They were inseparable. They are soulmates. When Jimmy would come into the radio studio to do an interview, Liz was there sitting on a chair. You know, she wouldn't come on the radio with us, but she was there sitting on a chair, part of it. They loved each other, and they loved each other so much. And I would just hope that all of us could find a love in our lives as Liz found with Jimmy and as Jimmy found with Liz. 43 years, you would see that sparkle and that love in their eyes in 2012 that I'm sure was there when Jimmy was going to Churchill High School.
Perfect. Anything else?
No.
No.